If you're coming from one of these really hot zones where there's a high infection rate and you're coming up here for something that's not absolutely essential, like a few days, I'd stay safe, stay home. I think that's safer for us and probably safer for you, yes.
Yesterday you said that the quarantine order would be voluntary and would focus on the individual accountability. Where in New York, Cuomo said that if you're caught violating the judicial order mandating quarantine in the hospital, they could give a mandatory fine to the judicial.
I know what he said, and that's not where we are. Look, we found in this state that I didn't have to punish people about the mask. Almost everybody was wearing the mask. We've gone to a lot of stores, and we've gone to restaurants. We haven't had to fine or shut down anybody. We've had friendly reminders saying this is what the rules are in terms of the protocols. I'd like to think that same type of voluntary compliance is going to work in this case as well.
Governor, we got a lot of questions about enforcement this morning. I know you said that right now it's voluntary. You're asking people to do the right thing. But you said if it doesn't work, that's when you're going to look at stricter protocols. How are you going to measure that? I mean, if we get an influx of cases again?
Well, two things. A, if I find out that there's a tour bus from Miami Beach arrives at Hilton Hotel and nobody takes the necessary precautions, we would be firm on that, yes. And secondly, every week we're going to be taking a look at what the infection rate is in some of these highly infected states. You know, it's very volatile. So I'd like to think a lot of those states that are on that board now is a positivity rate north of 10%. Will go south of 10% in the next couple of weeks. I think their people are on that side are getting tested as well. But right now, our neighbors, all of our neighbors, thankfully have a very low infection rate. And we're not an island. We want to make sure we can work together to keep that rate low.
Do you have any idea what travel traffic is like right now through Bradley, making up for such a deal, through Westchester, the two airports that really send a lot of flights on the border? How many people would it impact?
Well, I can start. I mean, Kevin told me traffic is down probably 85% from where you were, say, a year ago. And he can tell you, as regards the affected states, what that is. But we do have a lot of flights, say 7, 8, 9, 10 flights a day from Florida. We have flights from Dallas-Fort Worth. So it will be impactful in terms of traffic.
Can Kevin speak to that too? Have
Yeah.
you heard anything from the airlines? I mean, you're also talking, Texas, Dallas-Fort Worth is a major hub. You know, you're talking some hubs on the East Coast that are in the state.
Yeah, there's no doubt this is going to have a significant impact on air travel. The airlines are concerned about it. Naturally, they're concerned about the activities that states across the country have had to take since the start of the pandemic. You know, at the height of the pandemic, Bradley Airport was down about 98% in terms of traffic if you compared us to a year ago. Right now, this past weekend, that number dropped to being 75% down. Do I believe that the quarantine is going to start to reverse some of that progress we made? Yes, I do. But, you know, in the airport, we're not in the, health business. I don't make health decisions. Certainly, we wish there were other ways to go about it. That's why I've discussed with the governor the potential of setting up a testing site here at the airport to give folks an alternative, right? If you arrive here at Bradley and you take the test and the test is negative, then no need to quarantine. You don't want to take the test, then there is no alternative but to quarantine. But long answer to your question, there's no doubt there are impacts to aviation across the country, and certainly there's impacts here at Bradley.
How will you know if someone's going to quarantine?
Well, that's not up to the airport to make those decisions. I think, as the governor has explained, right now we're expecting people to self-police themselves. Right? This is an information program. We have worked with the carriers. We've notified all of the airlines. We're expecting that the airlines will make onboard announcements when they arrive here at Bradley, reminding folks what the requirement is. That's why we have this educational program throughout the terminal building. We've certainly made it available on all of our public information sources that people traveling from these locations are expected to quarantine. we'll be working with the Department of Health and getting their guidance as to some of these states, if they can turn around the infection rates, and then we can drop them off the list. But as the governor pointed out, we have a number of flights that are impacted. It's not just Florida. We have American service from Dallas-Fort Worth. We have American service from Charlotte that's impacted. We have Spirit service from Myrtle Beach. All of these locations are in these impacted areas, so there's no doubt it will have an impact on Bradley Airport.
Are there other airlines or airports across the country that maybe you talk to that have on-site testing?
I am not aware of any other airport that's doing on-site testing. I think at one time Pittsburgh was looking into that. They might have set something up, but I'm not really aware in large measure that it exists anywhere else.
I would imagine that takes a lot of time to set up, though. I mean, do you have that kind of time to wait for that on-site testing? I know that Maine is looking into some kind of tourist kiosk that they set up to try to do testing when people get up there, but that's taken them a ton of time, and they thought that out in advance. So how long can something like that take?
Well, certainly I'm not the testing expert. I think you'd have to pose that question to the Department of Public Health. But as it relates to our interests as the airport, we think that would be a nice alternative to offer to folks, that if you wanted to take 10 or 15 minutes after you got off the aircraft to take a test, and that would allow you to avoid quarantining if you got a negative result, we think it's a nice alternative to be able to offer. But again, that really becomes a Department of Public Health question whether or not they have the capacity to even do that.
Governor, I know there was some hope at getting the tourism industry up and running again, especially in the summer. I know there's a big thing here. So how does this impact that effort? And I guess speak to it.
Yeah, Caitlin, that's a good question. You're right. Isn't that ironic? We've just opened up our hotels in the last week or two, and we are doing some regional advertising. But I think that's the answer to your question. New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, all those places have a very low infection rate. That's where we're advertising. Those are the folks who are saying, Connecticut, back to nature, still close to civilization. I just saw that. We're not going to be advertising, obviously, in those other more infected areas.
How do you think this will impact the tourism industry?
Oh, I think Massachusetts and other folks coming from New York and New Jersey to enjoy beautiful southeast Connecticut will say, I respect the fact that Connecticut is taking the protocols seriously. It's got a very low infection rate. This is a place I can go safely, and this is a place we're happy to receive you safely.
Are we on track for the end of July for phase 3?
Right now, we're going to make an announcement about the end of July, probably in early July. Are we on track? Let's see. There's a lot going on out there right now, and I've got to see what the impact of all these surges in the south and southeast and southwest, how that'll impact Connecticut.
Is this entirely a self-policing effort, or what can you do to step in? I know some hotels in other states are making people sign forms when they come in, and then they're keeping them in their room.
We're not there yet. We're going to decide this one day at a time. Right now, I'm just proud that we got all the signage up, the electronic signage up. We've reached out to all the key associations. They know they have to keep people informed about what it means to go to Connecticut, especially if you're from one of those risky states. Thanks, everybody.
Governor, can I get one?
Yeah.
Somebody's traveling from Connecticut to a high-risk state. I know this applies to them, but we get in touch with people who say, I'm going to visit family, I'm not leaving their house. I mean, does this still apply to them as well?
Yes, you'll be coming back. You'll be, quote, quarantining in your own home, so it's something you can use some judgment on. But you're right. If you go down to Miami Beach, you hang for a week, then you come back home again, there's a possibility you've picked up the virus, so you got to be careful.
How are you going to track if someone has gotten a COVID test within 72 hours of coming in?
They'll have a form. They'll have to show a form that says, I've been tested within the last 72 hours, and it shows I didn't test positive. That's happening in Maine and some other states right now. Show it to who?
Yeah.
Well, just when you get off the plane here, where they give you the information, if you go to that hotel, I mean, we'd like you to be able to say that you have tested and tested negative. Right now, it's voluntary, like we said before.
Why has Maine singled out Connecticut? It's like a northern unit. I think it's it's Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. But the southern New England states don't have to take tests to go and visit Maine. But the northern New England states
you're free to go around there. But for the southern New England states, you have to have a test.
I told the governor, you ought to get vacation land off your license plate. But I think they've just had to worry about a lot of travel coming in and out of Maine, so that's why they've done that. So they've been focused on that. Hey, thanks everybody.